So, and who are the elementals?
Well, we talked about the two evolutions so far. The first evolution is the evolution of human beings as sons and daughters of God becoming a Sunday master. Second evolution is angelic evolution. The third evolution is called the evolution of the elementals. So again, we can put them on the three evolutions on the threefold flame as we did before. So the elemental evolution is on the blue plume. Blue plume is a plume of Brahma. The angelic plume is a plume of Shiva or pink plume, and the yellow plume is a evolution of Vishnu as a yellow. So the blue, yellow, and pink. Let's talk about the blue one. That the question is about the elementals. Elementals are also there are four kinds of elements, and we call them elements. The word elemental came from the word element. They are like air, fire, water, and earth. You can say, well, there are five. Where is the fifth one? You might be thinking that there are five elements. Which is the fifth one? The fifth one envelops all four of these. So Sunday Master talked about the four elements: air, fire, water, and earth. And these elementals correspond to each of the four elements.
Okay. So how can the knowledge of elementals, help human beings?
Excellent question again. How? Because all three evolutions work together. Sons and daughters of God, the angelic and the elementals. Elementals help. Let's look at the earth. The elementals on the earth. We call them gnomes. In Hindi, we call them bonas. They were short, 4 feet, 3 foot tall. And they work tirelessly to grow the vegetables, fruits in the garden, flowers, even under the earth. The oil, coal, minerals, gold, jewelry, crystals. You name it, everything. They work on the earth side to make the life for us very pleasant, easy life for us.
Now this particular topic reminds me of something which we had read when we were in school. So our books mostly they used to the syllabus was of ICSE, and I think it was mostly derived from the British curriculum. So we had chapters which had mention of beings like elves and pixies and gnomes and dwarfs. So we kind of could never understand who these beings were, and their pictures were also drawn like maybe these gnomes had very pointy ears, or elves have very pointy nose, and the pixies I don't remember, but these were the kind of beings which were shown but which we never ever came across in our daily lives. So we thought that they were mythical creatures, but are they really mythical creatures, or do they really exist somewhere in some place doing their own work? And somehow the writers of those stories knew about these beings and they introduced in those fables and tales.
I used to think like that. I also studied in a, in a school, a mission school, and they taught all the kind of things. And I was thinking along the same lines. I think most of us were thinking like that. Are they imagination, or are they real, or where do you put them? When I started my journey with the Ascended Master's teachings 45 years ago, then I came to realize they are real. And then they have names, and they also are very much organized, like the angels are organized. Angels have a journal, so the four kinds of elements, they work under a journal, they have a hierarchy also, and so they are very much dedicated, like angels are dedicated to help the human beings, make them flourish, make them happy, make them what. So they also do that. So let's talk about we talked about the gnomes, what they do. Then there are beings, we call them syphs. They purify the air. They purify the air because daily air is kind of polluted air. So we can also ask them, we can give them the energy. We can ask them, how to please purify the air by, we have some prayers like that have been given, how we can activate, or how we can tell the cells to purify the air over a city, or like smog and fog, or different things. Likewise, there are elementals who purify the water. We call them undines, undines. They purify water, like you have the whales, you see whales and how they sound when in the ocean, they sing all that. But there are whales, but there are also beings like that who purify the water. Now, that is another thing that God did not leave did not send us to the earth, human beings I'm talking about, and left the air part undone, and water part undone, and ground part undone. How are we going to survive? How are we going to eat? So He gave us those things. Then there are fourth type. They are called the salamanders. Because fiery salamanders are very tall. They are 15 to 25 feet tall. What do they do? Why they are so tall as compared to the gnomes who are like 3 feet tall, So they purify the ether quadrant, or the fire element. They represent the fire element in the nature to balance it. Well, fire element doesn't mean a physical fire per se. The fire element is the etheric fire. We do have these 4 elements we talked about in our body as well. So I'm talking
about.
You
mean to say that these beings are present within our body also, because the body is also performing all kinds of
exactly.
functions. And it is not acting as voluntarily as we mostly think it to be, that everything is happening on its own. There are beings inside of us. I mean, we know of microcosmic beings like say bacteria and all, gut bacteria, flora, which kind of facilitates the
Yes.
body functions. But according to your knowledge, there are like these very invisible beings also working day and night to help us stay alive, to keep the environment say clean, and the entire cosmic system functioning according to the God's plan. Is it that you mean to say?
I'll answer it this way. It's a very good question. In the macrocosm, we talked about that. In the microcosm body, how do they work? Our body is also made up of these same 4 elements, 5 elements you call it. I'm calling them 4 elements, just what you represent. They work with us, but God has given us another unique elemental. It's called body elemental. This knowledge is not known. We have a body elemental who coordinates with these 4 elements outside. So he is an internal physician in our body. Doctors do not know that. Scientists do not know that. There are a lot of teachings that are coming to the fore of the mankind knowledge about the body elemental, who is our main physician, who governs the temperature and body and upset and this and that.